Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Oh Shit. I'm not quite sure what happened to the last live I tried to start, but let's hope this one works. Tonight, I will be interviewing a power couple, Genevieve Lima and Carlos Lima. We'll be discussing everything from businesses and their entrepreneurship to how they're handling the current situation. I'm going to welcome them in. Let's hope this works. It's always finicky. Hi, guys. Everyone's doing well. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So fun. I feel like I'm hanging out with people.
I know, you're doing so good.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching and supporting and agreeing to be a part of this. I mean, going live is always traumatizing after you see the way I talk to people on my lives.
It's very entertaining.
It's super entertaining. We love it. We love it. And you know what? You always support like us too. So whatever we can do to support back is awesome.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And you are always so supportive, Jen. I mean, you've come so far for me so many times. So thank you.
Aww.
And guys, I have to thank you for going live because honestly, I mean, these are very unprecedented times and it's very difficult to actually have conversations with people now. So for you guys to come on here in such a public manner and, you know, fearlessly discuss your lives with me, I mean, that's awesome. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Carlos, I don't actually know you as well as I know your beautiful wife. So I'm hoping you would tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself in terms of what
Maybe work?
well, like what I do,
Yeah.
or
Your wife tells me you're very accomplished and you've sort of found these businesses, NGA, Ottawa Fury, Inside League. Tell us about them. How did you come to find all of this?
I've actually been an entrepreneur for 20 years since I was 19 years old, and to get to this, I've failed miserably a couple of times, which is all part of the process.
Of course.
But I used to live in Portugal. I actually lived there till I was 25 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, so we'll start with the NGA, which is probably what most people know. It's a goalkeeper glove brand for soccer for the goalkeepers. I have a background in goalkeeping and that specific position of the sport. And do I tell the whole story or?
Hear it.
Do you want like the whole story of how I got to that, or?
Yeah, I want to know what led you to leave Portugal. What brought you to Canada?
Well, I lived in Portugal. I started a little business when I was 19 years old. So I got into university. So just to sum it up, I got into university. I went for 1 week and I quit. And I opened like a little coffee shop at 19. Within a year, I had a business proposal to open a little sports shop for there it's mostly soccer related. And I was playing at a not super high professional level, but I was playing already at a decent level too. So I decided to venture in that. And then within the first couple of years, everything was great. I opened a second little shop. So I was in retail, but soccer related. And then things just didn't go really well. With the change of currencies to the euro, it really affected it really bad. And then other things like bad decisions too, bad business decisions that happened at the time when I was younger. And I was in a big hole. So I was Canadian born, which is great. My parents had been they're immigrants, so they had been back and forth throughout their life. So I was born here, went to Portugal. I was 3, came back. I was 9, went back. I was 14. So I went to elementary school here a little bit, high school there. So I'm perfectly bilingual, Portuguese and English, and now a little bit of French.
Wow.
And yeah.
No choice living in Ottawa, really.
Yeah. So I was in a really tough position. At 25, I moved to Canada. And a lot of people don't even know I actually lived on the sidewalk for a little bit when I moved to Canada at 25. But yeah, so came here 2005, and then I met Jen 2007. So with a year and a little bit. And yeah, I worked as a carpenter first. So so I worked for a year and a half for a person who was, to this day, he's like my boss. like my boss, like my brother. He was the only boss I ever had in my life, and he's like my brother. The first day I went to work, he started, you know, trying to get information from me. And I told him the first day that one day I'm going to have my own company. This is just temporary. I'm going to do my best, and, you know, I'm going to do really well. But I've always had that entrepreneurial type of thing, even though I came from a really bad situation. And yeah, within a year and a half, I had my own construction company, which I had for a few years. And then the story with NGA was I love building things. Like I've always built this house, and so there could be people watching that I've worked in their house even, because I used to build kitchens and do renos and stuff like that. But the soccer is my passion in terms of work, and I always wanted to go back to that. And so the brand was created. So again, we're gonna go back a little bit. I had a really close friend of mine who had started a brand called HO Soccer. I know it sounds horrible, but it's HO Soccer. So
can we say a sign up story?
Yeah, yeah.
When we were first dating, so like his phone was there and like HO called, okay? Ho called. And we were in Toronto and I saw, and I'm like, what is this?
Who is Ho?
It was not good. It was not a good time for Carlos. He's like, no, I can explain.
And
so
me,
he answered.
And me fresh off the boat, I'm like, so what?
Yeah.
I had no clue even what it meant.
Yeah.
But
it was just not a good.
Yeah.
It was not a good day for any of us that day.
Yeah, so I'll sum it up really quick because it's a really long story. Eventually I was here already in Ottawa for a good 4 years, and I had a friend in Europe that I helped him a lot with building his brand at the time. And when I moved here, he's actually the guy that brought me to the airport. And the money that I had in my pocket that I brought to Canada was from him buying like an old Nokia phone from me. I had like $50 in my pocket. That's what I had when I came, because he bought it. Anyways, we were really good friends. Few years after, I was ready to bring over his brand over here and become the distributor, and I got screwed over by him, but for like $20-something thousand. Wow. And it was the summer of 2012, and that's when I decided, you know what? I have customers. I'm just gonna create my own. And it was actually my brother-in-law who came up with the name called NGA Soccer, which is no goals against. And to this day, like I design all the gloves, and I have 18 different distributors in different countries, and yeah, so I'm the founder and the owner of the trademark, and then each one is like a franchise, so I give them rights to use the name in that country. So for example, Canada is NGA Soccer Canada. Some people
like a Starbucks franchise.
It's like sort of like that, right? So everything has to be bought off of me, my company, NGA Soccer International, and then.
So do they pay you royalties to any of this?
It's not a royalty. Basically, the only way for them to buy the product is through me. So they have their distributor price, and then there's a wholesale price, which they sell to the stores, and then there's a retail price, which the customers purchase for.
Okay.
So there's set prices for everything, and then basically margins are divided, like bigger volumes, smaller margins, medium volumes, which is like wholesale, bigger, and then obviously the retailers make the most. And that's that. The Ottawa Fury was when I started the brand. I have to make this quick because my story takes forever. When I started the brand, I started organizing goalkeeper coaches conferences.
Okay.
So in Europe, like top goalkeeper coaches from all over the world. When I organized the first one, I saw myself in pictures beside all these athletes, and I had gained so much weight. So I'm like, I'm going to start coaching kids or something, like just to get myself back into shape. So what happened is, because I did play at a decent level, and I gained so much knowledge from these coaches conferences, because I was learning from the best in the world, from Barcelona, Real Madrid, their coaches, that eventually I get a call from the Ottawa. I started coaching kids, offering my services for free. And, then eventually it got to a little bit of a side extra little thing, people paying me. everybody who's trained with know that I don't really charge a lot to train their kids, but it was more like for passion that I love that. And then eventually I got a call from Ottawa Fury, which is a professional team in Ottawa, to be the goalkeeper coach for the Fury, right? So that's how that happened. And then Fury finished. They went to the US. The franchise went to the US, and I had already a little plan that I was making, which is to work with athletes. One, to help them with their careers, because I gained a lot of contacts also all over the world with my brand and with these coaches and all this stuff. And then another thing is because most athletes, people mostly know the really big athletes that make millions and millions, but most athletes make an average of $60,000-$70,000 a year. And so I put together a company that's called Inside League, which Jen came up with the name. And the whole thing with the company is that I help them with contract negotiation, investment, like even if they want to invest small amounts of money, no low risk. I work with mortgage brokers, even here in Ottawa. And so basically prepare them for after their career, because what happens is over 90% of them, by the time they're done their career, they're broke. So yeah, so that's what people don't see, right? Even though you have like even if Ottawa Fury, you see like the lifestyle and everything, but like the reality is they don't make a lot of money. So if they don't put it in the right spots while they're playing, because also careers are short. So I help them a lot with that and their career, and if they need help with taxes and all that type of stuff. So that's what that company does. And then I have my brand, right? And then part of that that company too is I help other brands, because I've also been a little bit of a creator of products. So I'll help other brands, and I sell to a lot of countries and different stores. So I'll help people, obviously for a commission, to place, it's called product placement. So I can take somebody's product and be able to place it in different retailers or distributors, stuff like that. And even source, if somebody wants to create something from scratch. So there you go, summed up.
Summed up. Okay. That's a lot of like really amazing accomplishments for somebody who came sort of in the way that you did. So that's amazing. Very inspiring as well. I have to ask, what's happened to your businesses now?
Okay, I'll let you talk now.
Yes, Jen is not only the founder of multiple companies, but you're also now, your main focus for the past couple of years has been Petit Pay.
That's right.
What's happening with everything now?
You know, I think because it's an e-commerce business, I'm hit less than a brick and mortar. I think that it's a little bit easier to navigate through these times, but the profit margins are a lot lower. So, you know, you have to find a fun way to create an incentive for people to buy. So it's a little bit of give and take. So in my case, I offered like a 30% sale, you know, and then I did free home deliveries, but on that 30% sale, there's already items that were on sale online. So like the profit margins were quite small. Nonetheless, it was moving product. And at the same time, I'm able to like offer a service. And, you know, I packed my family in the car and take a tour around the city. Our city is actually a lot bigger than we know.
But it's a nice change of scenery, right?
Sorry?
It's a nice change of scenery, though.
It is. It was like ghost town. It was so quiet. We'd go from like Quebec to like, it was just like boom, boom. It was like ping pong all over the city. And it was fun. I mean, like we did it for 2 weeks and it was good. Like I'm hit a little bit less in terms of that, but like the profit coming in is like not good. It's not strong. How about that?
So guys, I mean, with both of you being entrepreneurs and so successful, in the ways that your businesses were running and conducting, now with everything that's going on, how are you able to sit there so positively still and like exude this energy that's almost contagious, given the fact that you've both lost so much during this time?
I mean, like, we love wine. No, I love wine. He loves like rum and whiskey and yeah. No. Honestly, like I feel like our faith, like we're really anchored in faith. Carlos and I, we come from like really strong Christian backgrounds, and I feel like the opposite of, you know, faith is fear. And at this point, I like full surrender. I mean, what am I going to do, right? What am I going to do? What can I control out of this? So, you know, I keep my my head up, and
yeah,
that's pretty much.
there's that, and there's a little bit of strategy too, because we one thing that we did, well, we did have a good year last year, so we had a, you know, like a little bit of a cushion,
Right.
but at the same time that cushion will run out, and it's not, we don't qualify for certain things that other people qualify for. And one thing I mention all the time, and people ask me, and one thing that people tell me all the time is that how we're so lucky to be entrepreneurs, and we're so,
Yeah.
and it's at these times that, and we go through other times like these, that people don't understand how difficult it is to be an entrepreneur. And
Right.
this is just one more thing like that happens throughout your life, and as an entrepreneur, and it's gonna probably happen again. So I think mentally we're prepared. We're not freaking out. We did look into different avenues. I personally looked in, because I have access to so many sources all over the world, and I looked into, even before before the 15-minute testing was available in Canada, I contacted Health Canada, because I was able to get them here for a lot less than what they were even paying for them.
It's like always finding strategies. I think, like,
Yeah.
we say, like, oh, we work hard, we're business owners, we work hard, but it's a choice. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's a choice. There's, like, we can also say we're unlucky, but we're lucky
Of
when
course,
we're lucky, we're unlucky when we're, like,
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is.
It's always
our
a strategy,
decision. Yeah.
but it's always a strategy. You always have to find a solution. So what another thing we're doing right now is, our house is worth a certain amount of money, and our basement's not finished. So I have a background in construction, and Jen's a really good designer. So we are building our basement right now.
Because what if you have to go that route, that you have to, you know?
Not even. It's like, I'll even say, like, if the next 2 months I spend building this basement and bringing up the value 4 times of what I bought in product and material, we made money throughout this time, the same. So it's all about finding different solutions, and what can we do with what we have in our specific situation.
Create,
right?
like,
Yeah.
we're just, what are we gonna do?
I think everybody, we have to sort of, with these times, find a way to make the most of it.
Of course.
But you're also really realistic in that statement, because we are all, like, my husband and myself are in the same position as you guys, and when you're in that position, you sort of have to take into account, unfortunately, what if I do have to sell my home? You know?
You have to. You have
yeah,
no choice. You can think of everything. If this lasts a year, what are you going to do? You can't live without, you know, there's thousands and thousands of businesses right now that, like, and this is the reality. Why? Because of how our system and everything works, is there's thousands and thousands of businesses that don't last. They can't last a month without cash flow.
Right.
And you know what? We're fortunate that we can continue to do what we're doing, but, like, Jen's been hit now since it arrived here. I've been hit since January, because I do manufacture some things in China, and everything closed.
Right.
So what happens is everything stopped. There's been no sales since January, like, you know, and then as things start hitting different countries, it starts affecting, like, Brazil, for example. By now this month, they would have sold 5,000 pairs of gloves, and they sold 25, you know, like, that's the reality. But we are optimistic always for the future. We have faith. We have, you know, and it's just,
what
you
are you
going.
gonna feed? You're gonna feed fear, or you're gonna feed faith? Like, what do you like? What
Well,
are you
gonna feed your kids first, I think.
Yeah.
Good one.
But you just gotta keep going. That's it.
You have to feed something, right? So, I mean, at this point, I'm just, you know, we're staying optimistic. We're keeping our heads up, and
we're just keep going. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all you can do, especially when you are parents of children. And, you know, it's easy for, when you have no kids, to say, like, well, you know, if I got to go back to living on a sidewalk, Carlos, I'm going to go back to living on a sidewalk, because it's just me. But now you have 2 children who you have to consider and take into account. And it's very scary for a lot of people. And I understand that, because I felt that fear. But like you said, Jen, you have to turn it to faith.
Yeah.
And you have to be hopeful that, you know, something good will come of this situation.
Something good will come out of this situation. Like, whatever is made for, you know, evil, let's just say, or whatever is created out of, like, something bad, like, God will turn for good always. That's his plan. You know, that's my motto. That's how I feel like we both think, and
now
riding that wave.
Absolutely.
With that said, Carlos, I want to ask you, because your businesses have been hit the way that they have been, a lot of sports teams have stopped playing sports right now. We don't know when they're going to start up again. And when they do, we don't know the proximity of people being allowed to play these sports again, whatnot. What does the future of your businesses look like right now from where you're sitting?
Well, I know there's certain, again, I sell in so many countries. So I know, for example, in Finland,
It's like they're different.
In Finland, they're already training. So there's already like friendly games that are going to happen within the next 2 weeks. So that means everything comes from the east and is coming towards the west. So I've seen it all with the virus itself. Like we quarantined early. We started quarantining early.
Carlos calls me one day. He's like, "Listen,
no kids in school.
He's
they're
like,
out of
take
school.
the kids out of school. You're gonna do this. You're
yeah.
gonna do that." He's like, "You're not gonna like go hoard groceries or anything, but he's like, buy like some frozen stuff and whatever. You're gonna come home and you gotta cancel all your birthday plans. You gotta cancel. Like we had all these plans. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, you're gonna call my friends and you're gonna tell them that because it was like my really close friend's daughter's birthday. Like she means a lot to me. And I was like, no, you're gonna do that, not me. And he's like, okay. Like he didn't care. He's like, we're locking and loading because you know, like what was going on in Europe was like.
So I have more inside information, right? So I'm not a person who's going to wait for there to be a case of coronavirus in the school and then they're going to close down the school. I'm like, no, the kids are out right now. Like,
yeah, it's happening.
It's happening. It's coming here. Everything's going to close down. And I was telling her and some of Jen's closer friends, maybe the first couple of days they thought I was crazy. And then within those 2 days, they're like, whoa. Yeah.
Because you never think like, and I don't blame them or you, like, you don't think this shit is gonna happen. Like
nobody
for this shit,
can
like,
prepare for this, right? No, you can't prepare. So
but I mean, guys, with that said, did you ever, I know you can't prepare, you can't foresee this, but did you ever see sort of something coming?
Okay, I did. I knew it early because again, I produced some things in China. I was actually in Germany, in Munich at the end of January, which is COVID central in Germany right now. And I was there for the biggest sports expo in the world and lots of Chinese people. And the thing is, when I speak to them on the phone, it's not the same as in person. So in person, I get way more information and things were happening, right? So when I came back, I already knew that things were going to slow down. I could never prepare that this was going to come here, but I had a lot of information as to what was happening there prior to people knowing, right? And then as I saw it going through Europe, there's no way it's not going to come here, right? There's no way because there's like, even what's happening in the U.S. right now, it's totally normal. Most of the flights in the world go to the U.S. They go through New York. It's normal, like it's you know, and it was bound to come here. To me, that's the only thing is to me, like the way and governments have even more knowledge, like more inside knowledge, more to me, like I think a lot of could have been more prevented if action was taken earlier and it would be less lengthy also, right? I find if it's that bad, like, okay, shut it down. Like that was my thing. Shut it down. 2 weeks, shut it down completely instead of this dragging of what's happening right now, right? That's what I think. Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree with that 100%. I think that went through a lot of people's minds was, you know, why did we let it get to this point?
Yeah.
Jen, and I have to ask you this question. Do you know?
He's drinking right now.
Okay.
So I'm not responsible for anything.
So the speech is going to start to get slurred.
He's like going off camera, taking a sip and coming back.
Jen, I have to ask you, do you know your husband to be at all an anxious or nervous man when it comes to stuff like this? Do you ever, you know, like when he did call you and was like, you gotta stop everything, were you like, what is going on? Or were you like, if he's freaking out, I must freak out too?
So he like is not a really freak out type dude. Like he's pretty laid back and he's like pretty confident man. So like when he said that, I was like, like, for real, this is like, you know, but yeah, like I was kind of alerted, I guess, more so like when he was saying that. Like he's very like cool as a cucumber. So Yeah, I guess
Cool
it was.
as a cucumber.
Yeah, you're cute.
Never heard that one before.
That's why, you know, like, you know who's cooler is me, because I borrowed my daughter's ring because I told her we were going to be on the poop show today.
That's so funny.
I
love it.
Yeah.
I need that ring. Will you
This
mail
is
it?
just for you, Tara. The poop ring. So she thought we were so cool. She was like, "You have a poop show?" Yes, borrow my ring. Tell her it's from Everly. I'm like, okay.
She's so cute. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
So how are the kids coping? How is the dynamic now? Mom and dad are home. Carlos, you seem like you traveled a lot for work, so now you're both home. You're both in one place. 2 kids are at home. What's the dynamic? How's it going?
You know what? Like, I'll say this. I'll say that out of like a lot of our friends, like our, I don't know if the word is set up. The fact that I have 2 kids that are the age that they are and that are both like same sex children that are in proximity in age, and they occupy themselves. They're not at like a potty training stage or that I have to hold them everywhere stage. Like, you know, they're 4 and almost 7 and they occupy each other really well. So we're pretty lucky. They get kind of like tired like any other child and bored, you know, like always having to be active, but it's my normal because I work from home and I, you know, started a business with 2 kids on my head. So it's been way worse and harder for me while this one was busy being Cristiano Ronaldo. No, but when this one was like traveling, like, you know, I've been home a lot. So this is less like of a, like, oh my gosh, big change of scenery. Like I don't leave home to go to an office. Like my office clothes are like Disney shirts. No, but you know, like they're very, like it's very normal to my regular life, except I can't leave too much. Yeah.
So are you guys leaving at all? Or
I mean,
groceries.
Yeah, groceries, and we did like a drive-by birthday. We did like I saw my mom after she quarantined for 3 weeks. My mom and my dad.
Okay.
And
yeah, but we try to keep busy too at home all the time. Like we have people like she speaks to her customers and stuff like that, and do manufacturers planning for and I have lots of people that I deal with all the time.
Yeah, we're busy with work too. Like it's just regular for us, but like more like confined, I suppose. Like
regular and strategy.
It's different for you because you were busy. Like
I was away, but it's nice to be home too. So it's you know, that's why like I was a month of nothing doing, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work on the basement. Like that's now that's what I'm doing.
He can't do nothing this one.
I can't do nothing.
Who willingly gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning? This one's like, whoop, gets up. Like, what are you like? Are you mental? Like, because we used to fight all the time about like how I love to sleep in, and Ariel's like a sleeper too. Like one of our daughters, she loves to sleep in. Like, but I love sleeping in. He's like this early bird. He goes, yeah, because I have to get up early because I have to conquer. Like, he's very like extra with that stuff, and I'm like, yo, chill. Now this one, I'm like, yeah, who has to get up right now at this time? He's up so early. It makes no sense to me. Like there's something not right.
Okay, guys,
at 6 a.m.
I have to ask this question because I remember hearing the story and it being such a cute story. Will you share the story of how you guys met live?
Sure, you can do it.
Who told you that story?
You did, actually.
I did.
I loved it. It was my favorite story.
He tripped over like my friend's leg in Toronto, and I had a guy friend that was like with us that was dating another girlfriend of mine, and so he tripped over her leg, and I went like that, like, man, I'm like, you know, and then the guy heard, like my guy friend heard, so he was like, bro, like brunette in the back, like, you know, and I was like so mad at him. His name's Evans. Like, honestly, if he's watching right now, he'll let us know because he's very clear on like he's our matchmaker. And then he went to talk to him, like he broke the ice, and then Carlos came and talked to me, and he was like, hey, and I was like, oh no, I'm terribly sorry, like misunderstood. I'm so sorry. Like I was absolutely humiliated, and and then it's just like very not fun details to share with everybody. This is very embarrassing, so I'm 4 shades of purple, Tara.
Okay, so I have to ask another question. This is where I get controversial, guys. This is the fun one. Carlos, when you met her, was she a vegetarian?
Yeah.
She was. Are you vegan or vegetarian?
I'm vegetarian.
Vegetarian.
Vegetarian. Okay, Carlos, were you like, I'm Portuguese, that's not gonna work?
Don't lie, he was.
I was like, to me, I thought it was weird, but
I visited Portugal. He's like, this is my French girlfriend, you know, like to everybody in Portugal. They're like, oh, okay, come and eat. Because, you know, like in Portugal, you eat like 27 meals a day. They're like, come and eat. And they would bring me like, you know, all this food at the table. First of all, I don't drink coffee. Like sometimes like like if a friend makes like those extra lattes, supreme situations, but I'm a tea drinker. So they would be like, espresso, like, and I was like, oh, yeah, I was up for like 48 hours. I was like, I was up early I couldn't even sleep. And then they would like have this big spread, and it was like every seafood on the planet with their entire, with its faces, and like these pig roasts in the bag with the whole pig. And I was like, where, like, who am I marrying? You know?
And my aunt would put her hands on. I'm like, what am I gonna feed her?
Yeah. So then she's like, okay, I have an idea. Come. They bring me to the backyard. They're like, I have rabbits. Any rabbit. You pick the rabbit. There's all these little rabbits, and they're like little claws in these cages. I was like, oh my god.
I'll just take
how do we freeze them? Like, how do we free these rabbits? He's like, babe, like, you can't, like, just don't. I cried every day.
And we rescued a stray dog.
Oh, I tried to rescue every stray dog. We spent all our money on the stray animals.
There's like stray dog here, stray dog there.
It's like, Steve, we'd leave the nightclubs, and it was this dog. Like, oh, you don't understand.
So Jen, how would you kiss him after he's just eaten a steak? Were you like, go brush your teeth, floss, do whatever you gotta do?
Yeah, like, you know what? To each your own. Like, I'm a vegetarian. I'm really adamant as to why I'm a vegetarian, but I don't enforce my views on anybody. I'm super, like, listen, if he can eat meat and sleep on his pillow at night and that makes him comfortable, like, you do you and I'll do me. Like, for me, I can't because of what's in here. But for him, it's not the same because I think he grew up in a Portuguese household. It's very normal to him, and actually those animals are treated very differently from his country. So, and
I like steak.
And there's just like, honestly, there's no.
I really do.
So are you not a vegetarian, Carlos?
No, he's a meatitarian.
I'm a meatitarian.
Will you cook meat for him?
I do. Yeah.
You do. Okay. Are you not like awkward about it? Do you like sometimes poison it? Let's get it out.
No. You know what? Like, look, it's I've been a vegetarian since I'm 12 years old. I'm 37. I'm 21 for life, but I'm 37. And yeah, that's been a long time. I've been a vegetarian for a long time. It's more than half of my life, and it's what I know, and it's what I'm comfortable with. Like when I was younger, my mom for Lent, you know, Christina and Shakti. So we did Lent together when we were little. Our moms used to tell us, like, you know, come up with something for Lent. You guys are big girls now. Like, and we said, okay, fine, we're going to be vegetarians, you know? So we were vegetarians, and I had to, like, I used to eat a pound of bacon to myself. I love meat. Like rotisserie chicken makes my mouth water. And like when, like Christine continued eating after that, and like she would eat like wings. Like I still love the sauce. Like I'll just touch it like that, you know, like, but I watched this video called Meet Your Meat. Right. And it traumatized me. So like every time I go, like, even though I'd want to, or like, so I'm actually just so uninterested in the actual like eating of the flesh.
It's also your heart though. It's her heart. Like I'll watch Meet Your Meat and I'll go have a steak. But Jen, like the heart, it's different.
Yeah.
I had like a period in my life when I went vegetarian, and I felt good. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I just honestly, for me, I was too lazy to explore the other options of food that was available to me. And I was like, oh, I can't do this. Like, I'm just going to eat meat because it's protein and I don't feel like it's a lot of work.
You know, being a vegetarian is like, you could be a fake healthy vegetarian, like a really fake healthy vegetarian by consuming all this estrogen-based tofus. And you could be eating like cheese 24/7 and eating all these dairy products. Like you're literally going to poison your body if you do it that way. And you're doing yourself no service, you know? So I think you gotta, like, when you say I'm going to be a vegan or I'm going to be a vegetarian, you need to understand like why you're doing it, and you need to like test it out. Don't put like, okay, forever for the rest of my life. Kind of do it in like phases. Yeah. 6, because like I don't know how many of my cousins are like, I'm going to be a vegetarian. Now they're like eating 7 steaks, you know, like in front of me. Like it's just, I think you just gotta like do it for a specific reason. You gotta like be passionate about health somewhat too as well in there, or else you're not really helping yourself, because there's a lot of estrogen, like soy, and it's pumped with like really crappy things for your body. Like we raised our, like my kids are vegetarian.
I get all the meat in the house,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Do they
Like
ever ask if they can have it? Like, have they ever wanted to try it or?
No, like they have zero, like I've let them know early, like this is why. This is why. Like, you know, when we're passing by those farms and all the little calves that were like robbed from their moms at like 1 day old, I'm like, this is why you're vegetarian. This is the industry. You know, it's so sad, Tara, like how they, if it wasn't like that, I feel I would feel different about it.
Right.
And I have like zero judgment for the people who eat meat. My whole family eats meat. My husband eats meat, and you know, like everybody actually know. I don't know many vegetarians, so like full, like no judgment is just my thing and what I see in my head and what like I think I PTSD'd myself. Like I think I seriously have like trauma from watching those videos, and like I have zero appeal for it. Like,
but I think it's really cool that you can be like so passionate about what you believe in and yet still love your husband who has different views on it, or not necessarily different views, but doesn't follow the way you do. And you guys can still love each other, still raise 2 kids, you know, like that's beautiful. That's a really amazing thing because not a lot of
we're shit shows on a lot of other things. Like on that, we've got it together. On other things, you know.
So then, with that said, who wears the pants in the house? Who runs the show?
I
do. No. No. No, you don't. No.
She does.
No. You know what? It depends on what topic. Like.
Yeah.
So let's say for decisions on the girls, is that equal or?
No, that's more Jen.
Yeah, that's more me because he's busy like traveling a lot.
It's not even busy. You're the mom. Like it's different. Like I find like it's that okay. I'm traveling, but like mom, those type of decisions is up to mom.
Do you think would you say different if you had a son?
No, I'd still be the same because I'll say how I grew up. Like my mom was the one too who made, you know, there's specific decisions. I feel it's mom. Like I'm not gonna. I would never impose any different.
His dad has never changed a diaper in his life.
Yeah.
He's the most amazing man. I love him.
But I did.
Yeah, but you did. Yeah.
So.
Not one.
So just because you did and your dad never did, I'm gonna assume that Jen wears the pants and she cracked the whip at some point and was like, "You're changing it."
No.
You willingly.
I did it myself. Yeah.
I really. Yeah, like
I'm very proactive with stuff like that. Like I'll do it. I'm not a person to. Okay. If you want to talk.
Are we gonna have a domestic dispute on a live here, Tara? It's gonna...
No, I have a really bad problem. Okay, I don't follow orders, so I'll do everything. But if you tell me you have to do this,
yeah.
I will not do it. But like Jen's never been like that, so it's like a diaper needs to be changed. I also never once said, "Oh, her diaper's dirty." I just no. If she's gonna get up and I can get up and change a diaper. I can get up and like I'm never. I don't think lots of flaws. I'm not that type of person though.
But you are a tornado. Like
I am a
like,
super.
Like
I'm no
hurricane.
Hurricane.
Does he do the invisible man? My husband's gonna kill me for saying this, but Omar will do the invisible man. It's like the man is poof, but the clothes are on the ground.
Yeah, I know.
2 feet away from the hamper.
Yeah, no, I know. And the coffee cups everywhere.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in the plates. And they're like, oh.
Or the dishes beside the sink and not actually in the sink. I never
like right on the ledge.
Yes.
You know, we're on the yeah.
I never understood that. But you know what? I love you for taking it there anyways, men. So thank you guys for doing that. All right. You're both where you are now. What do you see happening in the next 3 months? What is your personal perspective?
Like on business, COVID, our relationship. Are we going to survive this?
Are you going to survive this live, ladies and gentlemen? No. On COVID, where you think, do you think we'll go back to normal in the next few months?
You know, I sure hope so. Like, look, I don't know why this virus, I'm a firm believer, like I'm very of the same sound mind as Una and Tanya. I do believe there's like an agenda and this is really man-made. I feel like this is completely done to I don't know if it's to harm us or if it's to control us or what it is. But you know, I'm going to put that aside because I feel like they addressed it so well yesterday. I don't need, but like shout out to them 100%. I think that was such a beautiful argument. And I feel like you handled it really good too, because, you know, that's not really easy to get heated debates like that.
Yeah, the thing that a lot of people have to understand is that my personal beliefs are not the ones I'm trying to showcase right now. Yeah. And when I started all of this, I said I wanted to be the voice of the people until I realized that the people had many voices. Yeah. So then I said I'd rather use my platform for the people to view their voice. But in doing that, I always have to give the other voice and the other half of the argument, because if I don't, I'm only showing one side, right? Yeah. So it's a little bit of like a devil's advocate in a sense, but I've never once said what I actually believed, because I don't think that it's relevant to what I'm trying to do with this platform.
Yeah, and it really highlighted like their opinions, which was like a good point to your show.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's just to draw out.
It was so fun and so entertaining. Yeah. Like, it's so hard to follow suit after that. Like I was literally screaming at my phone one time. Like I was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "You'll come and watch." Like, because it takes a lot of guts to do what they did. Because you know what? People who believe like us, and like my close circle of girlfriends, and like our families, like we're all pretty, like some think we're batshit crazy, but that's okay. But they love us anyways. Like we keep it like, you know, but to come on live and be like, you know, like applauded and like slammed and all this, and still stick to your gun and have you like, you were tough, you know, and just they stuck their grounds, and I just really salute that. Like I thought that was great on all ends.
That's the beauty in challenging somebody's opinion, because I think what we have to understand in any healthy conversation is that, Jen or Carlos, if I come at you with, you know, an arrogant tone or a demeaning manner some would view as disrespectful just because I'm challenging your opinion, if you shut down, you have lost the right to your opinion and your voice. But if you continuously voice it, you are asserting your ground and saying, I don't care what you say. My beliefs are my beliefs. Nothing is going to change that. That is healthy dialogue. We have to be accepting and welcoming of it. But what disheartened me was the comments throughout the chat. Reading back on that, because that's showing a divide when the whole point of this entire concept is to kind of unite us.
Absolutely.
So I think that was my sort of, but anyways, again, now you're here. You think
there's like a quote. I'm trying to like a house divided on itself can't stand ground or can't stand or something of sorts. Right. Like, yeah, house divided. Anyways, like I'm trying to, but is it that house divided on itself can't stand or can't hold ground?
I know the quote, but I don't know the.
But it's like that, you know,
like that, yes.
Like we don't have to, you know, at the end of the day, you don't have to agree with people, but like at this time specifically, like, look, there's this awesome thing I saw on Instagram and I posted it. Like we're all in the same boat, but we're not in the same storm. We are not in the same storm. Everybody's going through this. Some have like major anxiety. Some people are chilling. Some people are like losing their minds because their kids are like, you know, very young and lots of energy, and they're like, oh, I'm used to being at work every day. Like everybody's going through this very, very, some couples are having a hard time.
Some people are losing their houses.
Some people are losing their houses. Some people are losing their brick and mortar business that they've worked their whole lives on, or like passed through generations, you know, and we're all going through this differently. And this is a really cool outlet that you've created, which is super awesome. And like, we all get to come on here and have fun. It's not made for bad, it's made for fun. And we just need to support each other. And now more than ever, we need to love on each other. Yes. We need to be positive. You don't have to agree. You know, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like Carlos. You don't have to like, you know, you or you know, Una or Tanya. You don't have to like any of us. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you don't have to bash it either. Like it's not necessary. And this is just all supposed to be cool bananas and like really calm and relaxed. It's supposed to be.
Exactly.
And
you know.
And I find the best learning curve is to listen to other people. No matter what it is, because sometimes we can be blind to something, like because we believe in something so much and then we're just blind and not listening, because that's as humans we have that tendency of, if it's something I don't like, I'm just not going to hear it, and I'm just going to, you know, just talk over you and pretend you're not saying anything. And it's really important for people to listen to other people's opinions and respect them, because
you may learn something.
You may learn something,
you
right?
May learn something.
It doesn't mean you, even if you don't agree at the moment, at least it can open your eyes to different things, because there's I was watching you as well, like just to touch that topic a little bit.
Yes.
And I know you brought up and other people brought up a lot of like, oh, what are the scientific facts and what are the scientists saying that? And I don't think all scientists are wrong with that, things that happened in the past, but you can't just blindly agree or disagree. That's the main, that's, it's so important, because with even issues that we have today, for example, so many people speak about, there's the global warming, there's the right, there's all that stuff, there's global warming, there's the virus, and there's all this stuff, right? But history has shown us that scientists were also very wrong. So you can't, scientists and governments said cigarettes were good for you before. Scientists said, like, in the 70s, it was the climate, everything was going to freeze, we're all going to die. Early 2000s, Al Gore was making billions of dollars saying everything is going to heat up. Now it's climate change. All those scientists over the years said different things, and we gave our hard-earned money with our hearts. I'm saying we, as everybody, believing what these people were saying. So I find with technology these days, we're able to see so many views and we're able to communicate so much that people do open their eyes to certain things. It doesn't even mean that they're lying right now, but history has shown that on purpose or not, they've been wrong and they've been right. There's nothing wrong with doubting. So if anybody's going to fight something right now, there's nothing wrong with doubting.
Question
everything.
That is our thing. Question everything.
No doubt.
And
no
the
doubt.
good, the bad, the ugly,
your
the
own
positive.
question your own questioning. And I think that it's so funny, because Tanya and I were actually, messaging back and forth all day today. For people who think that we were fighting yesterday, we've been talking all day. And I said to her, I was like, I love that,
you put on a good show for sure.
Well, it's not even that though. I love that we were questioning even each other's thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Because everything, when you're questioning, big doctors and this and that, we also have to question the way our minds wander, to know if we're wandering in a realistic manner, to define the facts like Carlos is saying, and look at really all the facts just to stay as informed as possible. So it is important, but isolation too will do that to you, right?
Like we have like more time than we normally would,
exactly.
for the most part. And, like, I think this is a good time to actually like go do that research on whatever topic it is. Like, hey, look, like open that book that you've been wanting to read for a long time. Go watch the news if that's something you want to do, or go research something, like go argue.
Also, just look at things that interest you and people get passionate about, and especially these days, everybody's passionate about politics. So look into it and see.
Hassan Jamba came on with the 5G thing, okay?
Yeah,
he came on with the 5G. So I was one of like, okay, so when I did the free deliveries, I went to Orleans. I was born and raised in Orleans. So sorry, yes, I saw the tower, and I was just like you. I was like, I think I'm getting a headache. I'm dying. We're all dying. Like 5G rollout map is the exact same as the coronavirus. Like I was feeding into that, although I know not to. Like, don't feed into fear. So but it's kind of like not fun to.
It's hard.
Yeah, like you're kind of seeing signs, and you're like, okay, God, I trust you and everything, but like, why? Like, like you're just like, I need some things right now. Yeah, like I wasn't liking what I was seeing. Like I actually saw the tower, and I made myself believe that I saw other towers. But like then I heard him talk, and you know what? He enlightened me. He really did. I can't say I'm at full peace, because he is an engineer, and like when you're with like you're desensitized, when you're like like, okay, I love animals, and like people who do like tests on animals. One of my really close friends' moms does like testing on animals, and she's like, she can sell me on why it's important. She doesn't really sell me, but like she's so desensitized that like the way she talks about it is just like she can make herself believe that it's okay, So when you're desensitized a little bit, like Hassan is like an engineer, so he's around all that. So maybe he's desensitized just like a little bit, but he had such good valid points. He really calmed me down. I thought it was a 5 gigahertz thing. Like I'm actually calmed down like 70% now. So that's great coming from somebody who actually does this testing. Like, how cool is that? Because that's like, we don't have access to that really often. I was actually super intrigued, and it enlightened both of us, because I'm psycho. I have a Wi-Fi switch in our house, and you know how you were saying, like, make sure your phone's on airplane mode. Like, if you try to call me from certain time to certain time and I don't answer, because my phone is likely I'm taking a nap or I'm sleeping, and my phone's on airplane mode, because I really do believe that radiation is super bad for our health. Like, we have like this Wi-Fi switch.
But he said that.
He said that, which I was like, eh.
Yeah.
I was like, see, so like, yeah, it was good. Like, it was really positive all around, and I felt like, that was good. It was enlightening.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. It definitely was. And that's what you need, right? Again, you need all sides and aspects.
Yeah.
Right. One last question. What is, Carlos, for you, I guess most importantly, is your business taking any other direction right now for this time? I know Jen, yours is predominantly online right now, but for Carlos, are you sort of taking business any other way right now?
There's no way. So right now everything is at a standstill, and we didn't even answer your other question, which is what we're thinking is going to be in the next 3 months. So I think we are going to go back to normal. We've gone back to normal from SARS. We've gone back to normal from, so I think everything is going to go back to normal.
But are we going to be weird with hugging? Like, I think, I'm a hugger, and I can't wait to hug my friends again. But I just feel like, am I going to be like,
I believe it's going to be totally fine. And
I don't know.
I believe so. I think the vaccine is going to be pushed, all that stuff, right? And but I think everything is going to be fine. And everything is going to start again, and a lot of people are going to lose their businesses, and a lot of people are going to lose their homes, and a lot of people won't make any difference. There's a lot of people that right now are making more money at home than they were when they were working. There's all of this, right? So I find what am I doing? I'm looking into what are the options. I know, for example, that Canada is one of the only countries in the world right now that's doing absolutely zero for businesses other than offering a loan. Other countries are offering
debt yourself even more. There you go.
Offering loans, but that can be converted into grants if you prove that money goes towards your expenses of the company, your business that you had before, all that type of stuff. So everybody, people can say whatever they want, and how, our prime minister walks out of the house and he speaks so well, but the reality is small businesses are the engine and the motor of an economy here in Canada. And people are the ones who are suffering. Restaurants, we've had hikes in carbon taxes when there's no scientific proof that those are needed. Hydro bills Hydro was converted into a private company. All these things happen, and prices go up, and the small business have been suffering.
Isn't it even constitutionally illegal to tax people?
Yeah,
those types of taxes,
but there's so many things. But I'm talking about. I'll say about the businesses in general. Canada's one of the only countries in the world that there's nothing available for businesses. Nothing, zero. So, and this, and everybody who has a business that's going to be watching, they know, has nothing other than a loan. You can get a loan that you have to pay it back. So the only way you can do is indebt yourself.
Indebt yourself.
I think it's going to go away.
Holler at homeboy Trudeau if you're watching. We need your help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're all hurting over here.
Exactly. And then the thing is, how I see it is, I'll say from the beginning, if to me, there's no way to prepare for something like this, right? But you can take decisive action fast, right? Which is what we did at home. Is I saw it coming. My door's closed. There's no birthday parties. There's nothing. Kids are not in school. It's game over. Mm-hmm. If this virus is this bad, it's game over. We're closing the doors. So that's what should have been. That's, to me, what should have been done. If there has to be ways to help businesses, because also each business is mine. I'll say it is more cloud-based, but I have manufacturing done in different countries. So I have tons of product in Pakistan and in China right now that I can't move it. A lot of it is already invoiced and everything, and I can't. So that means my income is zero, right? And that's why, luckily, we're a little bit better, because I don't have a big warehouse to pay rent and all that stuff.
We don't have the brick and mortar to
that. But we have our expenses, which there's a lot too, like everybody. But there's companies, restaurants, all like there's a lot of the businesses can't survive past a month, and that's the reality. And it's not even the people's fault. A lot of like that's our economy is not made for small businesses to thrive. So it's very difficult. Anybody who has a small business knows this. It's difficult. It's a lot of work. You have to work a lot harder than everybody else. And something like this hits you, it's very difficult to come out of it. And if everybody is being helped, especially the small businesses should be helped, not the big corporations that their CEOs make $1 million a year. You know what? Big CEOs that make $2 million a year, reinvest your money in your company that you made. But small businesses of people that take, there's $50,000-$60,000 a year, they have 2 or 3 employees. This is the reality of what's Canada. They're getting zero. They're losing what they have. And I think people don't see that and don't understand it. And at the same time, the moment you have a little bit of income, like or
her husband owns a company too.
For example, okay, so you guys the wings, right?
Yeah, wow.
So you guys now are doing takeout. If your sales are $10 a day, you have nothing. You get nothing. You can't get $10 a day, but you have to pay your rent, you have to pay your employees, everything. Yeah. The moment you sell $10 a day, you get zero. So that's the problem.
And it's funny, it's like my husband is open right now, and he said to me, he goes, my only hope is to break even. That's our only hope right now.
I understand that.
Fair, though? Is that fair?
It's not fair.
It's not.
Guys who are the heart of,
It's so unfortunate because of the tidal wave of emotion that we all went when this whole pandemic started, right? At first, it's like the virus, and then it's like the reality of it all, and it's going to be the future for a lot of us, myself and my husband, and you guys included, where we don't know.
No, of course. If there's no soccer, it's over. Like if there's none in the world right now. Well, now they just started training in Finland and Sweden, but there's nothing. So Jen can still sell online, but it's not the same.
Okay. Sales online, like for those first weeks, it was like liquidation, whatever. But now, like people are just starting. I'm starting to see people like less nervous now, and like there's some actual like real tangible profit sales happening, nice and slowly. Like people are now like, okay, let me go get myself something. Like they're hopeful. They're hopeful for summer. No, it's not the same. But like, it's not like as if I can still sell and make like full.
Of course,
like, it's not the same. People are just slowly shopping again.
Well, I'll compare it to how you guys are working with takeout. Like you can't compare what you do when you have an open restaurant and just do takeout.
If people are not like, yay, I want to buy a whole bunch of clothes now during this time.
We're a sports bar, so like 95% of your income or whatever it is, coming from alcohol sales. But
you don't get.
And it's
for sure. That's what I mean. Like there's zero support for that, where if this is that bad and they saw, I'm like, if I have information, which is very little, and anybody can have it, and you see what's going on coming this way, why don't you take drastic measures right away to help everybody? And that's why Una and Tanya, and even you were saying, there's certain things like, why should I believe that they have our best interests at heart? Because if they do that, because they don't even have people's lives' best interests at heart, because there's airplanes coming in every day, because there's like,
we live right by the airport.
We live by the airport.
And there's like the airport that's closed.
People are flying.
Why are there planes flying over our house every single day?
Unless it's cargo, okay.
Okay, sure, food cargo maybe, but
all I'm saying is like, that's what I mean by how we were talking about believing that, I don't, because history, and it has nothing to do with facts or I have a piece of paper that's going to prove it. It's just history easily proves it, just with legalizing certain things, making certain things illegal, and action. So what things that are done and not done proves it. That's my view.
I agree with you guys entirely. And guys, you're going to get cut off in 56 seconds.
All right.
From a guest, what are some tangible things we can all do to help local businesses?
I say buy from them. Like
Whoever
that's
you're
like,
supporting now is who you're feeding. So
Yeah.
if you're supporting Amazon right now, that's who you're feeding. That's who's going to survive later. If you're supporting small restaurant, hair dye kits, cake pops, bath bomb kits, like those types of people, that's who you're feeding.
Support your local.
That's going to help your economy. That makes you better and in a better
And I'll tell you
position.
why. Amazon, the owner, was already the richest man in the world, and right now with the coronavirus,
And he's a middleman.
He got $23 billion richer.
Wow.
So that's what happened. While everybody else is suffering. So
We love you, Tara.
Amazon.
I'm like looking at the time, it's counting down.
Thank you for having us.
No, we're not leaving yet. No, we can't leave like that. I'm gonna X you guys out.
Oh, okay.
To properly say bye. You wait right there.
Okay.
I can't let my guests go like that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna welcome them back in and properly say goodbye to them. That was so awesome. They are such great human beings. They lifted my spirit despite their hardships. Amazing, amazing people. I'm just waiting for them to click back into this new live. There she is, Jen. I'm gonna add them in. Let's wait for this to work.
Hi.
Oh, I couldn't let you go like that. I had to do the air of goodbye like 5 minutes
Okay.
before we actually said it.
Perfect.
But honestly, guys, thank you so much. You are both so knowledgeable. You bring such a light energy with you. I love it. And I really hope for all of our sakes that life can resume back to normal at some point, that we can keep sort of spreading these messages of love and hope and reality, that we can, have people support local as much as they can. Jen owns Petite Poupée, ladies and gentlemen. For all of you who do not know what that is an online little girls clothing store. If you have any, nieces, or nephews, let's be politically correct, nieces, nephews, anybody who likes pretty dresses in your life that is Jen, what age group is it? 7?
It's like 0 to 8. And you know what? If after this pandemic, if everything God willing on everything, there's going to be a rebrand, some really cool things coming. So maybe the boys may be included in that in the future. But, I don't know. Maybe Petite Poupée may be gone too. Like, let's just wait and see and just be super positive. It's 0 to 8 for now, and it's little girls.
That's awesome. And Carlos, for yourself, if anybody wants to support you during this time, is there any way that they can with your business?
They can pray for me.
Okay, so everyone...
Pray that soccer comes back and we can play, and I can every people can buy gloves again. Other than that, like it is what it is. But I'm here to help people too. So if anybody needs any help or any insight or any type of thing,
use the material of the soccer gloves to create masks.
Like latex, you won't even it'll suffocate them. It's
the gloves. So you bring them to the store. They're like, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. Gloves. They need gloves, man. You need to
They do. But
look into it, Carlos. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Tara. Thank you.
That was so fun. Guys, check them out if you can. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye.
Guys, that was so amazing. Thank you all again for tuning in. Tomorrow night, I have Jen joining me. She's a military dietitian.